I remember this anecdote that you were feeling something, and then Gurudev said something that surprised you.
He said, make sure in your budget, it was funny, we had no money, you have a budget, to make room for lawyers and accountants, because one day millions of people are coming to this organ, and there were maybe 30 of us at that point. And I thought, but didn't say, poor man, we've got to give this guy some English lessons, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he said, John, my English is very good. He read my mind. And he said, when I say millions, I mean millions. That perplexed me. And in the house I was living in at that time, there was a rose garden with 100 rose bushes. He would walk in that rose garden, and we didn't like to disturb him, but I was really mulling over in my mind millions of people. And I thought, how is he going to do that with millions of people? So I did interrupt his japa. I went out in the rose garden, and I said, I'm troubled. I know you said millions of, how are you going to take care of them like you're taking care of us? And he said, I'll tell you a secret. That on the day you're born, me or any of us, you have as many brain cells as there are people on the planet at that moment. Isn't that interesting? Somehow, all those people are going to be like living in your head or connected. I said, how does the connection come? He said, I don't make the connection. He said, they make the connection to me. If they want to be connected to me, they're connected to me, which I thought was interesting. So if anybody needs my help, he said, I feel it. And I said, well, how do you know which one? And he said, John, if I pull one hair of your head, you know which hair it is. I had more hair then than I do now. And I said, yeah. So I sort of understood it, but I didn't fully understand it till about 20 years later, when I was traveling with him, I think in Europe, and helping him at the end of the day, and he was getting ready to go to bed, and right before he went to sleep, he sat up in his bed, and he closed his eyes. I also closed my eyes, but it somehow didn't feel like he was meditating. Couldn't quite figure out what was going on. About 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, he opened his eyes. I said, you weren't meditating. He said, no. He said, I was going around the world giving a blessing to everyone who asked that day. So somehow, in here, he was connected to everybody and knew what everybody needed at that moment. And that's only the beginning of what I see that he's able to do, not in his physical body, but you know, he's connected that way really to everybody in the world, and does what he can in every moment for all of us.